guys, welcome back to another painting video. This is Astroath The Grim. It's the old model. The new one has just been previewed on Warhammer Community. I don't remember what black I used to paint them, and because I'm going through trying to paint all my Blood Angels up, I'm going to start off with the usual matte black spray. I'm going to spray the whole model with it, and then I'll start working up some highlights from there. So 20 psi on the compressor, some Army Painter matte black in the airbrush. I'm just going to spray the whole model, get a good coat on it. I'm going to let that dry, and in the meantime I'm just going to work on other stuff in the background. Okay guys, the matte black prime has settled on Astroath, and looking at his official art, he's essentially in red armour. So it's basically like the musculature of the body if you took the skin off. So the only real thing that's black is his wings, maybe his hair. So to get started, so he'll match the rest of my Blood Angels, I'm going to hit him with the Scarlet Red, just trying to keep this as close to his body as possible. Okay guys, now that the Scarlet Red is dried, I'm coming in with some Mephiston Red in the airbrush. It's watered down just a small bit, and we're going to start using this as a highlight colour. Now that's pretty much going to be Astroath with the airbrush for now. I'm going to come in with some glazes, some washes and stuff, and we'll start darkening down the armour once it's dry. Okay guys, so now that the red highlight has dried, I'm going to go in with some matte black. So I'm going to use the matte black to paint the soft kind of armour plate in between the leg and the hip. I can't really get to his elbow creases, so I can get in a bit there, his hair, and then the wings. So I'm just going to get started and start base coating these back up to black, because then we're going to highlight them up, leaving the red armour as untouched as possible, because we don't really want to try and fix the gradient we've applied with the airbrush. Okay guys, so coming back in, we have Astroath. All the black has been done, so we're talking about the wings. He has two kind of pipe things on the back of his jump pack, so they've been painted black. His hair, and then just the soft ribbed armour sections between his legs. Okay guys, so coming back in now that the black has been done, I'm going to use some Mornfang Brown to start base coating the script work that hangs out of his jump pack. I'm going to do any of the kind of purity seals, any of the rolled up scripture, I don't know what else you want to call them, that he has. So Mornfang Brown being the base coat, and then we'll start highlighting it up in a few minutes. I'm using a wet palette here. It's normally what I use unless I'm using washes, and once we have this done I will come back. Okay guys, so I've done the brown scripture work, but there's two shoulder pads that are made up of bone, and to start that off I'm going to also use Mornfang Brown. So I just want to try and cover all of the skulls that are on this shoulder pad, and then the big skull on the other shoulder pad. They seem to be a kind of grey tinge, but I want to build it up from brown. There is also two purity seals on his back that I did not originally see, and I got them on my painted round. Perfect. So once that's done, I'm going to get some gold, and we'll start with the gold. Okay guys, so coming in with the gold, he has a couple of different sections which are gold. So we have the shoulder trims, We have the Blood Angel symbol on his belt. The muscle definition, I think this is cartilage in musculature, I'm not sure now. I'll be talking out of my rear, but I'm going to go cartilage for this, pretend like I know what I'm talking about. That kind of splits up the fibery muscle sections. I'm going to paint them gold. I want to paint his other shoulder pad gold around the skull. Don't forget to do this flat bit at the top as well. And it looks like I missed a script on the top there. Don't forget that when you're doing your brown. I'll go back and stick some brown on that now in a second. I'm going to do this Blood Angel symbol on the back of his jump pack as well. This small skull. Now he does have a few other bits of this muscle definition stuff here that are splitting up his legs and his leg armour, so I'm just going to go in now and get all that painted up and we'll come back once it's all done. Okay guys, I was going to say blonde gold is now done. He had a headband, a couple of different parts of the armour was separated out. I topped up the brown that I missed originally, and there's two small skulls at the side. So to start painting the hilt of the axe, which seems to be made out of bone, I'm going to use Steel Legion Drab just to break up the different types of bone that we're going to be using. Because this looks like very white bone. So just want to make sure it's a little bit different to the bone we're doing on the skull shoulder pads. With the axe handle now painted, I'm going to go in with some plate mail silver from Army Painter and just paint in the little box detail, power plant on the power axe, and the connecting pipe. Now there's two small chains on his torso as well that we need to paint silver. So we have this one that's wrapped around his leg. And we also have a small bit of silver over here. And that should do it for that bit. I am going to let that dry and we will come in and start on the face next. Actually, before we do that, I'm just going to paint these bracings down here in silver just to break up the backpack a bit. Cool. Okay, so coming in for the face, I'm going to start off with a base coat of Vallejo Game Colour Wolf Grey. He's kind of got this vampiric white pale skin, so to replicate that I'm going to use this Wolf Grey and give it a nice little blue wash, and then we can highlight it back up. Perfect. With all that done, I think it's time we start highlighting up the paperwork on the scripture. So I'm going to come in with some Scrag Brown. Okay guys, I decided not to use Scrag Brown. I'm actually going to use XV88, and we are going to go in and just start highlighting up the script work. So I've mixed some of this in with the Mornifying Brown, just so it's not a stark highlight. I can build it up a little bit. So I kind of want the lighter script to be in the more prominent areas, so I'm going to start painting this on here. It's pretty watered down. Same on the purity seals and any other script work that is on the model. Right, so I'm going to stop recording here, go and paint the rest of this script work and stuff, and then we'll come back and have a look and see how we're getting on. Okay guys, I'm going in now with just pure XV88 just to bring up another layer of highlight. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to work this into all the areas of script work, purity seals, anything else. Trying to leave some of the XV88 and morphine brown mix in the recesses, but just highlighting up towards the edges to make it look a little bit like worn script work. And once that's done, we can come back and have a look. Okay guys, I've mixed in some Shafty bone into the mix of XV88 and morphine brown, and again just going in towards the higher points here. Don't forget to do the purity seals. Leaving some of the previous colour in the recesses. Now what I will do in a few minutes once this is dry is I'll hit it with a brown Army Painter strong tone wash, and that will weather it down a bit and give it a bit of an aged look. And that's the one we can obviously work on something else, but I just want to try and give this a very weathered, tattered, old scripture kind of look to it. So we'll come back in a second once this is dry and we'll start. Okay, to start highlighting the bone, I have mixed some Shafty bone into the Steel Legion drab. And I'm just going to highlight this upwards. I'm going to apply this onto the shoulder pads too, but for this section I'm going to start working white into the highlights, and for the other ones we'll just lean into more and more bone with a brown wash. Okay guys, so I do want to apply a brown wash to the armour just to get some dark shades into the recesses. So what I'm going to do now is just go in and start painting up the purity seals with some scarlet red just to darken them up a little bit, and then I'm going to get the strong tone out and we're going to hit probably the majority of the model with the strong tone just to darken it down. So we'll see in a sec. Okay guys, coming in now with the Army Painter strong tone. Using the GW shade brush, I'm just going to start coating absolutely everything with this that's not black. I should be very clear about that. I do not want to put this on the wings because we're going to highlight them up as they are. We don't need a wash to darken them down, they're already black. So I'm going to do all of the red armour because this will leave a nice shade in the contours of the ribbed armour. Make sure to get all the skulls, all the gold. I'm going to use a blue wash on his face just to give it that kind of vampiric pale skin look. And I'm also going to use this brown wash on the axe hilt because I want it to be a kind of bony brown colour. Just making sure I'm getting into all the crevices, and we'll come back in a minute to start highlighting up the wings when this is dry. Okay guys, guys, while the wash is drying, I'm going to come in now with some Dark Reaper and we're going to start highlighting up all of the wings. Just trying to put some Dark Reaper on the higher edge of the wings, leaving the majority of it black. And I'm going to keep going with this and we'll come back in a while. For the larger wings, I'm just going to try and use the edge of the brush for the outside and draw a thin line on the inside. And we'll come back once I have the whole thing done. Okay guys, so I've gone in now and painted highlights onto the wings and onto his hair, and we're going to go in now with some Army Painter blue tone just to shade his face. There we go. Okay guys, so coming in now with some Mephiston red, we're going to start highlighting up the muscle fibres on the armour. So I'm just trying to draw these in as light scratchy lines, just to make it stand out. I'm trying to go with the grain of the muscle fibre, so the likes of this here. So I actually missed a part of the necklace itself. We'll have to come back in and top that up, but what I'm doing here is going with the grain. So if the striations of the muscle are pointing upwards or they're vertical, we're going vertical. If they're curved, we're following the curves as best as possible, just to make this guy stand out a bit. So I'm going to go around and do the whole model. I'll use the Mephiston red just to highlight this up in a bit more of a layer fashion rather than some scratchy highlights. Just like that there. Same on these sections as well. Dragging the highlight towards the high points. And I'll come back once that is all done. Okay guys, with the Mephiston red done, I have now mixed in a tiny bit of Wild Rider red into Mephiston red, and we're going to use this as the final highlight of the red. Drawing the brush into a nice tip on my thumb. I'm just going to go in and start doing some nice thin lines just to really make the red pop. Again, we're going to do this all over the red sections of the model. Okay, so when painting the jump pack, I'm coming in with more of an edge highlight rather than the scratchy highlights that we are doing on the musculature, just to help it stand out that little bit more. Before I start working on the scripture, I'm going to just highlight up the edges of the purity seals with some Fire Dragon Bright. This will just give it the waxy kind of look that you'd expect from purity seals. Normally I'd go with Wild Rider red, but because this guy's a character model, I just want him to stand out that little bit more. making sure to get all of them. Backpack ones as well. Yep. So I'm going to take out some Ushabti bone and mix it with a little bit of wolf grey to highlight up the hilt. Okay guys, so I've mixed wolf grey and Ushabti bone, and we're just going to go in and start highlighting up the bone on his axe. To get this looking the way I want, I think I'm actually going to give this the blue tone wash just to shade it back down and make it look like well looked after bone. I don't really know how else you're meant to say that. Sterilised bone, clean bone. Right, so once this is dry, I'll come in with the blue tone that we used on his face and I'll just give it a quick wash just to shade it down, and I'm probably going to leave the axe hilt there, to be honest. I think it's going to look good enough. Moving on to the scriptures then. Okay guys, just coming in now with some watered down Ushabti bone. I'm just going to start highlighting up the scripture. Maybe water it down a little bit more. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. So purity seals, any scripture work, obviously this big kind of stuff, the stuff on the back top of the jump pack backpack thing, and then we'll come back in and start working on some of the shoulder pad bone. With the scripture now highlighted, I'm going to come in with some of the Retributor armour and just pick out some of the key details of the gold just to highlight them up and make them a little bit more shiny after the brow wash. Now this is where it's going to be quite interesting, is all of the sections of the gold that are separating his armour panels. So I just want to try and hit key areas, not the whole thing, because I don't want it all to be standing out. Just working the gold back up to a nice sheen. And covering up any overspills from some of the other colours. I'll go through, I'll highlight up the rest of them, and then we can come back and start on the next bit. Okay guys, I forgot this small satchel here, so I just painted it in the XV88 Mornfang Brown mix, and we can highlight it up in a second. I also redone some of the purity seals just to give them an extra bit of colour. Now I'm going in with some of the wolf grey just to highlight his face, leaving the blue wash in the recesses. Perfecto. And I'm going to go and stick the blue wash onto the axe while I'm here. Coming back in now to highlight the shoulder bone, I have mixed in some Vallejo pale grey, blue grey pale. I've mixed that into the white and Ushabti bone mix, and I'm just going to start using that as the highlight colour. Just working upwards. Trying to catch all of the raised areas. and then all of the skulls on this bit as well. I'm going to tidy this back down in a minute with some Army Painter soft tone, which is similar to a Reikland Flesh Shade wash, just to blend it down a little bit more. And that should nearly be it. Then I'm actually going to add just a tiny bit of this onto these microscopic fine cast bones here, just like that. And other than the axe and some black kind of scripture work onto the script, I think we're nearly done. You did not see that. Just before I forget, this small pouch here, I've mixed in some Ushabti bone into the Mornfang brown and XV88 mix, just to give that a little bit of colour. Imagine this is his coin purse, or he keeps gene seed in there after he kills the fallen. I'm not 100% sure. I am not also 100% happy with the way the script is looking, so I'm going to give it just another quick blast of Ushabti bone to try and smooth out the blends a bit, and then I'll come in and try and write some pretend scripture on it, just to make it look like he's taken the names of the people who have fallen to Black Range that he's defeated, and he's added them to this script. That's definitely what my scribbles are going to represent. And then the only thing that should be left then is just the axe. Okay guys, I have some watered down Army Painter soft tone on the palette here, and I'm just going to paint that on to the skulls. And all that leaves us with then is the axe and the scripture, so I'll start off with the scripture. I'm just going to use some nice watered down black paint, and hopefully this will work. Going for a kind of triangle shape to make it look like, okay, we're going with the Inquisition eye apparently. Couple of squiggles, squiggle, 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 squiggle. We'll try and do like a blood drop in black here, a couple of squiggles, a few more. You get the idea, we're going to be here a while. Okay, so I'm going to come in with some Ushabti bone, and I'm going to try and pick out his teeth. Just like that there. And final thing I'm going to want to do here is the scripture. I tried to put in like the word Baal, the Executioner's Axe, some blood drops. Imperial Eagle was not as easy to do as I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought it would be easy. I am going to try and give him some black pupils with some watered down matte black, just to finish him off before I crack out the airbrush for his Executioner's Axe. Yeah, I think he looks pretty baller there, to be honest now. Yeah, so last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the Executioner's, no, I'm going to take out the airbrush, not the Executioner's Axe, and I'm actually going to go purple on this just to make him stand out a bit. Okay, here is the final step before basing. I have Vallejo Royal Purple in the airbrush, and PSI is set to 20 PSI, so little test spray. We are go. Probably still a little bit more on this than I need, so I'm going to take that out. Okay, so I have some Vallejo game color purple, model color, sorry, purple in the compressor, same again. 20 psi. I cleared out the majority of the royal purple before adding this in, and we're just going to give this a light dusting. And with the purple still in the cup, I'm going to come in with some blue violet. Just put a drop or two in there as the final highlight. Blue, violet and purple are now mixed in the cup. Same again, this is just going to be the topmost highlight. And that's final step, just to match the way I've done my sanguinary guard jump packs with the blue glow. I'm going to start off with some imperial blue in the airbrush and blast this into his power pack. Okay guys, I now have some Caldor Sky added in, and we're just going to add that straight in. I'm then going to go in with some Temple Guard Blue as the final highlight. I've mixed Temple Guard Blue and Caldor Sky, and this will just be the final little blast. Okay, so final little step just to make it really pop. I have some Vallejo Model Color Pink, very descriptive name, and I'm just going to give this a quick little edge highlight. And that's it. I'm going to go and get him based, and we'll throw him in the turntable. Okay guys, here is the finished Astroath model. Paint time wasn't too bad on him. The only big issue I have with this model is the fact that he was a fine cast sculpt, so there was a bit of cleanup on him when I built him originally, and I did have to go back in just before the prep stage and redo 2 or 3 small tabs that had been left on him. Paint time was 2 hours, 36 minutes and 30 seconds, which I think isn't bad for a tabletop paint job for a character. Pretty happy with it. It's another model out of backlog, it's another model onto the table, hopefully in the coming week with the new codex and stuff being released. And stay tuned for more videos. Let me know what you think of the paint tutorial, and